Hello, Emma. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us for this Color Vision interview.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here, Lucas, and lovely to meet you.
So nice to have you here. So to begin, tell us what color could define your mood in this moment?
What color? The color that defines my mood in this moment is pink.
Pink.
Yeah, pink. Like this color, pink. Like a nude, soft, nurturing, compassionate pink.
Kind of like this. We're going to try with that.
Ah, perfect. Wonderful.
And tell me more. What memory does this color trigger for you?
The memory it triggers for me is, I guess it's around sort of compassion and warmth and feeling grounded, growth. Yeah, there's lots of different memories. So it's not from any particular time in my life. It's just a color that I am gravitating towards.
Okay, that's great. That's a good definition. And what is your passion in life, or passions?
Passions, well, besides cycling, I love cycling for the sense of adventure, fitness, camaraderie, and seeing new places. And the other passion really is colour and how it can be applied to yourself, your environment, and to a brand and a business.
We love that. Well, you talked about brands and business. What is actually your field of expertise and what do you do in life?
I've been working in sort of marketing and brand field for the last 20 years or so, primarily agencies, and I work with them on defining their brand strategy, how they go to market, how they position themselves. So that covers every sort of touch point of the brand, from their look and feel, how you want people to feel when they engage with you, when they see you, in both visually and in the sort of written word.
Right. And like for these weird times, particular times that we've been going through lately, how are you personally living this situation? How have you been handling it?
I have been exercising. I love exercise. I do something daily. I've actually been continuing to work with my cycle coach, so which is great because that gives me structure to, as well as working, it gives me structure. So I'll be on a virtual platform called Zwift. I have a weekly meetup that I run that anyone from all over the world can join. I've had people in the UK and as far as Australia joining. I walk in nature. I'm lucky to live near Wimbledon Common, so I go for a walk, I think every day, at least for half an hour. And when it's been nicer weather, take my shoes and socks off and just feel connected with the ground.
The ground, right?
Yeah, I think just eating well, sleeping well, making sure to have time away from a screen because we're in front of screens all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, just being more mindful, listening to different podcasts. So there's a great podcast called Happy Place, which is hosted by Fern Cotton. So she does some great interviews. And also there's another podcast called Tough Girl, which is about women who go out and do incredible adventures. So yeah, being more mindful really about what you're eating, how you're operating, how you're thinking.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Being mindful, as you said, that's great. Making the best of the time. And
yeah,
you know, like in a few words for you, what is your vision for what comes after what we've been living lately, and what do you think the world actually needs maybe after this?
I think so my experience of the last 3 months and going through this process and seeing businesses reflect on who they are and what they do and who they work with, and seeing them pivot and change what they do, but also to reflect on what is it they truly want to do. There's also more openness to collaborate and look at new ways of working and supporting each other. So I think from that, there's horrendous things that have come out of this situation, but there are lots of good things too. So yeah, I think people will be more, my vision, I think, really is more kindness, compassion and collaboration, if I was going to say it in 3 words.
That's actually great to see the more positive things. And actually, you just talk about compassion, collaboration, and everything. Do you think this crisis could help create new values for the societies and how maybe change the way humans interact?
Yeah, I think the way humans interact is already, I think it was already changing before the pandemic, in terms of what consumers want, what they want from brands. I think it's accelerated that. In the last 3 months, we've seen sort of 15 years worth of people go online in sort of 15 days. So therefore, the need for digital experiences to be dialed up and to be work harder for brands and consumers is a real priority, really. But also, I think there's a shift, as there has been in the last few years, growing need in terms of growing need and a sort of market demand for well-being. And how people want to communicate, how people want to act, how they want to be communicated with. There's a growing appetite for more ethical, sustainable brands. Also, the way brands operate and their supply chains to be more localized rather than global in terms of how they source and produce. So yeah, I think there's a big, that's just accelerated, really. But yeah, it's interesting to see. It's good to see, and also I think this is enabling people to have a bit of downtime in some instances where they weren't expecting it, and also to there's less shoulds around what you should do, and there's more creativity around what is innately feeling, what is right for an individual in the moment, and I guess in the near and short term, because thinking beyond, whereas we used to plan for sort of months and months ahead, now it's like, okay, well, let's just deal with today because tomorrow or next week could be completely different.
Absolutely.
I think there's a
day by day. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think day by day, and when you look at how retailers operate, I know a lot of online shops, in the UK are looking to reopen on the 15th of June, but it's not like everything's going to return to normal. Retailers will continue to serve people online. Brands are recruiting, if they weren't ready for digital transformation, even though it's been coming for some years, a decade or more, to many companies, it's just the way they operate. To others, they've always relied on that high street presence. So without that, digital is way more important. Also, the content that people want to read, they want to read things that are more meaningful and purposeful. So how that content is created is becoming much more prevalent. And a priority for many, and there's just a much bigger trend towards those kind of requirements, really.
Yeah, as you said before, companies and brands are pivoting and adapting to the changes that they're confronting. And how do you see, maybe even, do you think company leaders will focus more? You talked about well-being before. Do you think company leaders will focus more on their employees' well-being moving forward?
Yes, I do. There's, things all over sort of different platforms. LinkedIn, I've been more tapped into the sort of well-being space over the last sort of 5 to 10 years, but I think it's always been a core part of something that I'm interested in terms of not only my well-being, but the well-being of those around me, be it friends, family, and colleagues at work. I think as companies, return to work, some businesses have already declared that they will not be going back to the office until January 2021, when we're looking at the fact that a vaccine may not be secured until June 2021. Who knows whether that may or may not change. I don't think working from home will be the new normal as a totality, because I think humans need interaction, and you need face-to-face
relationships,
physical, interactions with people. And I think that's really important to have that. How other companies will change? Yeah, I think they'll be more adaptable. I think they'll also be more open and receptive to change. I think sometimes people, individuals, as well as businesses, when there's a group, a unity of people, are sometimes resistant to change because it feels scary or uncertain. But actually, when you're in periods of change, they're usually your highest periods of growth and learnings. And again, I think it's that opportunity to everyone to take a step back and go, right, what's really important to me? Yeah, so that there'll be improvements in what's you've seen companies who are saying you're not going to go back to the office until possibly January 2021. You've seen other companies allocate $1,000 in the US to setting up their home office. You're looking at how people nutrition, and actually nutritionalists. There's a company called Super Wellness in London. It's a small business, but again, they've been working with a lot of corporates recently in terms of how they fuel, feed, inspire their staff. There's also another company called the Happiness Index, which is around making sure that your employee happiness. When you look at a boardroom scenario, they're always looking at commercials. What's going to make a business more commercially viable, about making money, but when it comes down to it, it's people. So what makes your people happy? What makes them, and their messaging is freedom to be human, which I absolutely love. It's like all of you's welcome, and it's all open to talk about, to discuss about what your employees really bring to the table, and what makes them happy, what makes them want to stay with the business, stay with the brand, and inspire, really.
Absolutely. No, as we say, like, it's not business to business or business to consumer, it's human to human in the end. And
yes,
that's what matters.
Very much so. Yeah.
So Emma, thank you so much for taking the time to share your vision with us. It's been a pleasure to hear you and to be able to understand what you see and what you're hoping for the future. And yeah, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you. It's been great to talk.